This is Elliot and Jose coming to you from Dreamland Comics in Schaumburg, Illinois on CCW TV. We are now at the point that we call Last Rants, and Last Rants is when Jose and I talk about either something that we've reviewed in the past, something new. This is kind of something related to something we've talked about in the past. We were wondering, the idea was, what was DC going to do during Diamond Skip Week? And there was one thing that they decided to do that we really liked. I forgot. It was we had talked about it on the board. Marvel was they were giving away free promotional items, and then they were giving you the opportunity to buy Hulk Gamma variant cover.
variant,
which actually they're going to ship the week before.
I'm assuming that, yeah, because Diamond's going to be closed. That's why there's no comics, because Diamond's going to be closed. So I'm assuming that either they'll ship them direct to us, so we'll get them by that Wednesday, before, because or we'll just get them with our books.
And then you have to
the
hold
week
on
before,
to
we
them
just have to hold on to them.
Hold on for a week.
Because that's what we did with the Marvel projects when we were when Marvel Projects #1 or Marvel's Project #1 came out. Certain retailers got certain variant covers, like, and you can have a party, like,
right,
and you can sell them at midnight.
Yeah.
Well, they sent them to us the week before. We just had to hold on to them.
Yeah.
So
I remember that Dreamline had a thing like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Yeah.
We did that.
Yeah. Well, DC has decided to,
and we said whatever DC comes up with, it's gonna top Marvel, and they did.
Doing something which actually thrills me to death.
No, it isn't the skip week. This is for January. You're confusing yourself again.
What is the skip week? What are they doing for skip week?
Fuck's sake. Blackest Night #6 is coming out.
Skip week. That's what.
God.
You know why? What I was kind of confused because this had the whole thing.
This is a skip month in January
for Blackest Night.
Yeah, because Blackest Night #7 is not coming out in January.
Right,
it's going to come out in
February.
February. And instead, this is coming out.
The Blackest Night skip month. Okay. What is DC doing in lieu of releasing Blackest Night in January? Okay, God. They're momentarily restarting. They're doing an extra issue of all these titles that have been canceled in the past, and
or have ended of their own accord.
Or ended of their own accord. That is true, because the book that ended of its own accord, and I am like a kid in a candy store when I found out that there will be one more issue of Starman by James Robinson. And when you told me that, I was just giddy to no end. Because I've actually had dinner with James Robinson, and I've asked him, how is Jack Knight doing?
But I don't think Jack Knight's going to be in this issue, though.
I don't know. He might to some point. Now, always the theme about Starman, and you have you could make a relevant observation there, because Starman has always been about taking the different Starman characters throughout DC and drawing them together. So James Robinson can easily make this about a different Starman character, but I'll still talk about, the others. But just the idea of seeing Jack Knight again and what he's doing, from what I understand, he's running a tattoo parlor in Opal City and living very happily with his son. And, just living the life of a hero that's kind of, hung up the old spurs, so to speak. But to see it would be really cool. That's a great thing. The not so great thing is, Catwoman's being brought back.
Yeah, so everyone knows that I really liked Catwoman, and when it got canceled, I really bitched and moaned about it. So they're bringing back Catwoman for this thing, but they're not having Will Pfeiffer or David Lopez work on a book. They had this incredible, huge run, but then they're getting Fabian Nicieza, or Nicieza, however the fuck you want to pronounce it, to write the Catwoman. Now, here's my thing. What is Will Pfeiffer doing right now? Is he even with DC anymore? Because I don't even know what he's working on. When Catwoman was done...
I thought he was working on Fables. No? Any of the Fables or spin-offs? No?
No, it's Bill Willingham.
Yeah, no, but I thought he was working on one of them.
Well, I have no idea. Anyway, here's what I'm saying. Why isn't he writing the Catwoman book?
And why don't they also have
David Lopez
David
come
Lopez
back? But he's done stuff with Marvel. He did that New Avengers miniseries with Ronin and Mockingbird. But so I don't know if he's exclusive with Marvel. I haven't heard. But anyway, this is the long and short of it. But it was more long. It took me forever to get there. This shouldn't be coming out. I'm sorry, Catwoman. Yeah, awesome. I love the series, but if you don't have the creators on there, I don't give a fuck. Why is Catwoman going to be part of it? Part of it is, well, the reason why that is because she's going to deal with the Black Mask because she shot and killed the Black Mask, the original Black Mask, who apparently is not going to be the new Black Mask now because he is dead because he comes back because it's a Blackest Night thing. So it's her dealing with that. But again, like, if you're not going to have the original creators who did that huge run, why even bother? Because I'll tell you one thing, if James Robinson wasn't doing that Starman, to me, that's the same thing. You need to have James Robinson on that Starman. For that Catwoman to not have Will Pfeiffer write it, it's pointless, and I'm not even going to buy it.
Right. I see where you're coming from. And the other thing, too, and this is just a personal gripe of mine as a...
Because, I mean, you have John Ostrander doing a Suicide Squad.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's John Ostrander doing...
So you have some of these guys coming back to do it, and Greg Rucka's doing the question, but Greg Rucka is doing the question, so that I can see why they're putting him on there, and just...
And I'll even give Peter Tomasi doing Phantom Stranger because there's never really been, I think outside of Steve Englehart, I don't know of any other writer who was really that associated with the character. But as a freelance writer who's desperately I'm always willing to take any little job I can get somewhere. Dan DiDio writing weird Western tales. You know, why does editor-in-chief of DC need to write a book? Is my question. Doesn't he have more important things to deal with, like, you know, coordinating everything? You're telling me that there wasn't a single writer out there?
Well, he did the Metalman story in that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying it was good.
No, I'm just
saying that he did the Metalman, and he's doing and I think he's never mind.
I'm just saying.
No, he's taking over a book. I can't remember which one it is. He's doing a book. He's going to do a monthly book too.
Dan DiDio's going to take over a monthly book at DC?
I think so.
I mean, I know that's kind of the thing right now because Mark Waid is editor-in-chief of Boom. And
but that's Mark Waid, though.
He writes all that stuff. No, I understand it. But to me, it's friggin' DC Comics and you're Dan DiDio. This just goes to show, you know, to me, they say actors are frustrated directors or vice versa. You know, I think editors really want to be writers. They don't want to be editors. They want to be writers. They want to be the ones doing the books. They don't want to be
Pete Tomasi used to be an editor, and now he's a writer.
But see, there's a thing where Pete Tomasi actually is a really good writer.
Right, he is.
And what made him a really good...
But he left being an editor to be a writer.
Right. And I know some writers who have worked with Pete Tomasi, and it was only evident in the kind of criticism that he would give you when he looked at your scripts and read them. He's like, oh, see, Pete Tomasi has a sense of story and character, so that's why he writes really well. Mm-hmm. To me, the editor-in-chief of DC Comics is just as maddening as the editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics jumping in and doing a book. Okay? Joe Quesada insists he doesn't have the time anymore to be able to do regular comic books. Okay, that's why he'll never do a bit like One More Day again because, you know, he just didn't have the time to draw a comic and run Marvel Comics. It
didn't stop him from doing it. It didn't stop him from doing that Father miniseries either.
It's just really... then, you know what? Then you obviously don't have enough to do. If you have time to sit down and write a story. Mm-hmm. You know, because writing comics... Yeah, writing comics is not... that's a full-time job in itself. So if you can just crank out a comic book, you know, and run a company, you know, wow. That's incredible. I don't think even Stephen King could do that. And he's one of the most prolific writers in American history. Anyway, I'm happy to see James Robinson back on Starman. That's the one thing I'm taking away from this that I'm happy about. Beyond that, I'm kind of cheesed.